Okay, so in the interest of time, I think we will just get started. That's bang on 1 o'clock now. Anyone who is joining us can join, so hopefully they'll be able to catch this recording as well after, if they haven't joined us already today. Before we get started though, can someone confirm they can hear me okay? The audio coming through all right?
Yeah,
Maybe
we
give
can hear you
me,
just fine.
if you don't have your on, maybe just say, unmute yourself.
We can hear you just fine.
Okay, you can hear me good. Okay, thank you for confirming. I think that's Samuel there. Thank you for confirming that. Great. Okay, so welcome to the RGU Accelerator Startup Accelerator Program Application Information Session 2023. I'm delighted you can join me this afternoon. I appreciate things are maybe busy just now, busy with exams and things like that. So it's really great that you've come along to today's session and made the time for that, especially if you are an active student, if you're alumni. Maybe those days are over for you, but appreciate you taking the time this afternoon. So I'm Aisha. I am Aisha Kasim. I am the startup manager here at the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Group at RGU. So you'll see an awful lot of me if you're successful to be accepted onto the Accelerator program. I'm basically leading on the project, so it will be something that I'm really excited to do and get to work closer with some of yourselves if you are successful on your exciting business ideas and projects. So today's session will be recorded, so you'll be able to watch this again, and the slides also will be sent after. So today's session is really just to give you kind of a heads up. If you're interested in the Accelerator program at all, it's just to give you that kind of extra bit of insight and extra bit of information, because it is a competition. The application process is competitive, so not everybody's going to be accepted. So it's great that you're along today, because maybe you'll have some insight that other people don't have who are also applying. So it kind of gives you, puts you just a kind of a bit above the rest, hopefully, today's session, or filling in your application process. So I will say, if you are in the middle of submitting your application, maybe you haven't submitted it just yet, please do be aware that the deadline is fast approaching. It is Sunday. So please don't forget that. We do need those applications in by midnight on Sunday. There will be no extensions. People have asked me already about extensions on the closing date. I'm afraid there will be no extensions on the closing date. That is set in time. So please do get your applications in on time, in advance of midnight on this Sunday, the 11th. So what are we going to be covering in today's session? What is the RGU Startup Accelerator? We'll go into what are the benefits of the program. Are you eligible to apply? I get asked this question a lot, especially by international students. And we'll go into that in a bit more detail. What's the process to apply? What makes a good application? How do you use the application platform? And how to find a test idea? And do you have any questions at the end? We'll make some time for that as well in this hour-long session. Okay, so generally, in terms of the program overview, you'll see that it's open to any RGU student this year, and alumni within 5 years of graduation. So if you're familiar with this RGU Startup Accelerator, and some of you might be, because this is now our 5th year running the program, you'll notice that the criteria tends to change from year to year. So last year, for example, it was a regional accelerator. What that meant is that not just students in RGU could apply, but people out in the region of Aberdeen City and Shire could apply. So it was quite a big accelerator program last year in terms of geography. This year, we've kind of brought it back in just to really focus on RGU students and alumni specifically, just to give them that additional sort of more intimate support on their business ideas. So this year, it's open to any RGU student and alumni, as long as they're within 5 years of graduation. We often would do RGU staff as well, but again, this year we're completely focusing on students and alumni exclusively. So that's quite exciting. So what do you get as part of the program? You can get access to equity-free funding. I get asked this question as well. Is this government funding, public funding? This is private funding. Any funding through the RGU Accelerator program, it's private funding. So there's no public funds. You don't need to worry about paying anything back. There's no stipulations there with regards to visa and things like that. So this is private funding. If you are successful to be accepted onto this program, you will be able to access up to £2,000 at least as a minimum, equity free, and you get to keep that funding. We don't ask for that funding back. It's for you to keep for the business. And you actually get to access more than that because we run different competitions in the program. So you can actually increase or top up that £2,000 by several £1,000s more worth of funding as well. Okay. And that, again, like I say, is if you're successful, and this is all to help you work on your business idea. It's open to ambitious, innovative, and scalable early stage business ideas. So we're not just looking for sort of regular, standard everyday business ideas. We are looking for something that's a little bit different. You don't need to be going and inventing the metaverse by any means, but we are looking for something that shows a bit of innovation, even if it's just a different way of doing things, something that's scalable, something that's backable, something that's feasible, desirable, viable, so we are kind of looking for those quality submissions in the application process, and that would help you again stand out from the rest as it is a competition. So like I was saying there, what are the benefits of the program? These are the 5 main benefits. Like I say, from upwards of at least £2,000 in equity-free startup funding, okay? Access to city centre, free city centre co-working space. So members of our past cohort from last year are still actually using this free office space right bang in the city centre of Aberdeen. And they get sometimes they get their mail there, delivered there. But it's a great place to meet, for meetings, if you have external people you're meeting with about your business. But not just that, even just meeting with other members of the cohort, what we found is that, one of the strongest selling points or benefits of this program is actually the other like-minded people that you're going to meet, who are more than likely also ambitious, who are more than likely dedicated people. And it's a great space to actually work together and cross-collaborate and kind of build that network. And again, like I say, all of this is made feasible and possible because you kind of get an office space for a year, as part of the program. You'll get 5 months of training and development, all right? So this, again, like I say, is if you're successful in the program to be accepted, you get from May till January of support from our team, our EIG team, not just our EIG team, but people out with as well. So 5 months of training and development, introductions to industry mentors. So if you are successful, you'll get access to the EIG team in terms of our support, but also you'll get access to actually people in industry out with university, which again is just really exciting because who knows where that can go in terms of your future prospects as well. Okay, so mentorship is a really strong selling point as well. And then you get the business showcase event. So after you've gone through the 5-month program, you will get an opportunity to showcase your business idea in public. Last year we had it at the Sandman Hotel in town, and we filled the room full of investors and really well-connected people in Aberdeen and the Shire. And you get to present your business idea to them. You get to pitch your idea to them. And again, we've had people come back and be successful in terms of potential investors in the room who are actually interested in the individual, interested in the pitch, and then take those introductions forward as well. So you do get an opportunity, a bit of a platform for your business. So this is just a quick video of our previous showcases. It's a very short video. You can see them in action from the previous event. Different speeches going on to give you a flare. I'm not sure if that audio is going to work, but it's very quick, this video. So the audio is just music, really, but that just gives you a bit of a flavor of the showcase event itself. Okay, so introduction to the actual, that's just joining. Okay, so in terms of the program theme for the actual Accelerator program, you'll see the Accelerator is open to all technologies and innovations, so no specific theme. So some Accelerator programs you might see are, energy specific or green energy or tech specific. We are very inclusive with the RGU Accelerator program. We open all general business ideas, okay? Early stage business ideas. We do have certain stipulations like we won't support illegal activities, of course. So we won't support things like gambling, certain industries we can't, as long as they're, if they're a bit, like I say, illegal. So that's the only kind of restriction there. But we are open to all business ideas. And we're open to all startups, regardless of your focus. So, it's just undergoing a process of validating, developing, and testing your ideas through the RGU program. And sometimes we'll find some applicants might submit different ideas. So we might have one person individual, and I guess ask this question as well. Yes, you don't have to have a team to apply. You can apply as an individual. One person can apply for this program. And some people will apply with multiple ideas. So you'll see the same person, let's call them Jeff. Jeff will submit maybe 5 different business ideas for the application for the accelerator. That's okay. But, try and make sure that those are quality submissions, because that is really, you could submit 5 applications and none of them be selected because maybe the quality isn't in there, or you could concentrate on the one great business idea and really make that quality submission. Okay. So you're trying to demonstrate a commitment to sustainability. If there is any sort of theme here, I suppose, it would be a sort of sustainable focus, really, but it's open to all general business ideas. Okay. See, yeah, there we go. Okay, so like I say, you will get access to the Startup Showcase as part of your program. So in the past, this is where you see the other elements of the competition coming in terms of, remember I was saying at the start, you get access to further funding, not just the £2,000. This is where you start to see, we have prizes for best display, best pitch, and we've seen teams last year win several £1,000s on that night. So the showcase is really a big deal. You get your mentorship connect sessions as well. And like I say, you will get access to the startup station, which is at the One Tech Hub in the city. So who is eligible? Who's that program actually open to? So this is the following criteria, okay? The lead applicant, and like I say, one person can apply, that's fine. You don't need a team, that's absolutely fine. But the lead applicant must be a founder of the business. So that must be the person who's going to run the business. They must be an RGE student or alumni within 5 years of graduation. The business must intend to operate and create impact in the UK, okay? Ideally Scotland. So we are looking for people that want to start their business in the UK, all right? You might have a different branch abroad or overseas or something, but you need to have your base in the UK, ideally Scotland, like I say. The business must be early stage. It's an early stage idea, all right? And you don't necessarily need to be trading, but you have to have or demonstrate the intention that, you are taking this business seriously. You do want to start this business, and it could be a company, as in a limited company. It could be a sole trader business. It could be a third party or third sector organization. It could be a social enterprise. It could be charity or something like this. All right. The business must not have raised over more than £100,000 in investment or revenue. So we are looking for those early stage business ideas. Now, early stage might be something that's been established for 2-3 years, potentially, but it could just be literally just an idea that you've been thinking about, or you've been developing for a while. We don't necessarily need to see any firm traction. The business must intend to have at least one founder working on the business full-time within 12 months of the end of the program. All right, so one person at least should be at least the intention of working in the business within 12 months of the end of the program, and that's full-time. So these are the program dates, and maybe I'd advise you can take a snapshot or a screenshot of this slide. Like I say, the slides will be sent over to you, that's fine. But if you want to take a screenshot here, feel free. These are the essential program dates in terms of splitting it into different sections. So just now we're in the launch period, and we have applications closing. So the launch period in the yellow on the far left, you'll see we have the applications closing on the 11th. So we're still in that period. And we have different events like today's event, for example. We also have another event, I should mention, coming up on Thursday. And that is actually a conversation with past participants of the Accelerator program. So you get to have a conversation with them, which is really interesting, because they can share how the program impacted their lives and how they were able to benefit from it. Hear directly from the horse's mouth, as they say. The next stage is a sort of the boot camp stage. Desirability, feasibility, adaptability, all the way up to the final. But like I say, these dates only really kick in if you are successful, okay? But if you are thinking about applying, certainly these dates are something to be aware of for your own time commitments and for your own diaries and calendars as well, okay? Any questions, again, like I say, we could cover them at the end. So this is your key application date. So applications open on 31st of October, all right? And they will close, like I say, that is a firm close on the 11th of December. And these are the dates in terms of the reviews and how you can, expect to hear back. Shortlisting, we will be having a boot camp, and not everybody that's going to be successful will be invited onto the boot camp. We'll take typically about 24 people or so, or 24 businesses or so into the boot camp, and then shortlist that down to 16. So you'll hear if you're successful with the boot camp, being invited to the boot camp, which will be in January after the Christmas holidays, by the 21st of December. Okay, and then you'll get your announcements of who's successful in the boot camp or who's actually going to be accepted onto the program on the 18th of January. So in terms of the stages, we do take the judging process quite seriously. We appreciate your taking time to, an effort to submit your applications. And some people, you really want to get into the Accelerator program. Some people have maybe been thinking about it for years and, maybe last year wasn't good, so they're applying this year. So we want you to know that we're taking your idea seriously. So we go through different stages of the judging process, right? So the first stage is all your applications will be screened by internal RGU members. And we're looking at eligibility. Is your application complete? Has a person actually answered the question that's being asked? Because some people will find, that question will be asked and then they completely answer something different in the answer. So please do try and answer the actual questions we're asking you. And we're looking for, is the application acceptable for endorsement? So this goes back to the eligibility with regards to legal, the activities and the legalities and things like that. Okay, so after this, our process is complete there. We then will go on to allocate that application to external judges as well. So this is a second stage, and it's typically relevant to your industry. And you will get that feedback on your idea. So if you're talking about external judges that are from industry, that insight can be really, the feedback that you gain there can be really useful for your idea, especially if unfortunately you're not successful. There might be some feedback there from industry experts and mentors or judges who can then you can take that away and then further develop your idea with that feedback, which can be quite exciting as well. And it might be something you tweak and then come back next year or something like this, for example, or then you go and start it and use that feedback from the judges there to kind of refine your idea. So in terms of the application questions, if you're going through F-Success, which is the portal that we use for submitting our business, the ideas for the Accelerator, okay, so all your applications are going through a website called F6S. So it's quite a straightforward application question. We've really kind of trimmed it down. It was much longer before, but we've shortened it this year. All you need to do on F6S is create your profile to be able to use a website. And there's lots of interesting stuff on F6S actually. So, you can use your Facebook or LinkedIn profile or register with your email, that's fine as well. But once you've set up an account to use on F6S, then you can go and submit your application. So what we're trying to see, what you should be trying to demonstrate or communicate to us clearly is what is the specific problem you're trying to solve. Sometimes people get really complicated in their answers. If it's really technical or, it's not in straightforward terms, you really have to consider the reader, right? So in whatever you're doing, it might be a CV, it might be an application process. Try and put yourself in their shoes of how can I communicate things as clearly as possible for this application. Okay, so we're looking specifically for what is a problem you're trying to solve and what is the scale of the challenge. So this is going to give us insight as to, have you thoroughly thought about this idea, this problem? Do you know a bit about the marketplace? What research have you done? Who does the problem affect? Okay. So if you're looking for tips on how to best answer this question, sometimes that can be a bit tricky because it's just you and you maybe just thought about the idea, you haven't spoken to anybody about it. Sometimes speaking to other people can be helpful here because they can help, feedback to you. Okay, well, I don't really understand what you're saying, or why don't you put it like this, or why don't you put it like that? Get their insight. Maybe other students get their insight when they think about your idea, and then that can maybe help you, curate your application in terms of the terminology used and things. So in terms of what the judges are looking for here, we're looking for a clear explanation, like I say. from the eyes of the customer. We're looking for evidence that there is an actual problem. There's no point trying to solve a problem if nobody really cares, right? There needs to be some sort of interest or need or that you're meeting, and it has to be realistic as well. Okay, so in terms of how you test an idea, this cartoon on the right hand side, when I say you speak to other people, sometimes if they're unbiased as possible will be good. This is what's known as a mom test. This person in the red shirt is speaking about their idea, and they want to go speak to their parents, their mom and dad. So of course the parents probably are going to be supportive and encouraging, but that is not necessarily the best insight or the best feedback. Sometimes you need to speak to somebody who's impartial, who's just going to tell you as it is. So rather than parents who might just love everything that you do. So yeah, just think about that when you're speaking to other people. And then typically, find a problem, testing an idea and prototyping and whatnot. So how do you come up with an idea? Like I say, this could be an early stage business idea for the Accelerator program. Typically, it's an opportunity. You're spotting a gap that needs to be filled. Some people follow their passion. That might be somehow that you, that might be an idea that you go with. It might be passion you hold, maybe in sports, maybe in knitting. You're trying to digitize knitting, for example. It might just be something you stumble upon. It might be something that you don't know anything about that industry, but you just stumble upon this problem, maybe in your studies or something like this, or your research, or somebody mentions to you and you thought, well, why hasn't somebody ever done that before? That could be a good guide as to what sort of idea to submit, and you come up with a good solution, It might be research, like I say, it might be some other sort of desperation as well. In terms of the idea still, for the questions, what we're looking for again is how does your business idea solve that problem? So it's all very well identifying a business idea or identifying a business problem, but what's the solution? How are you going to solve that problem specifically? What are you bringing to the table? Is it expertise in a certain field? Is it connections? Is it somebody you know? Is it some sort of new innovation? Is it some new idea you have about how to solve the problem? Do you have a skill set that might help you solve the problem? What makes a business idea innovative and to help to stand out from what's already kind of been done before? So here we're looking for, again, clarity, easy to understand. If you're looking at engineering, for example, engineers or technical people sometimes can get carried away with technical terms and assume that the reader knows what they're talking about. Not necessarily. And this is what I go back to when I say you have to consider the reader when you're submitting your application form. They might not necessarily have the technical wave energy field background that you do. That's really niche and specific. So you have to try and make it in general terms and as accessible and inclusive for your reader as well. And then, if you present in a unique, creative, and ambitious way, that's great. Some people get really creative in terms of submitting, images or things like that. That's okay as well. And this slide just kind of reinforces what I was saying just now about how, you could think you're coming across clearly because, of course, why doesn't anybody get it? Because you know what you're talking about. Well, the other person you're speaking to might just not get what you're talking about because they don't understand where you're coming from. You can see here with the jargon, I harmonize it on the cloud, trans-domain kickoff, disruptive mesh network of microservices of the Internet of Things. It's something that people just maybe don't consider, or they just take it for granted. But actually, they do themselves a disservice because they don't think about it from the other person's point of view. So someone reading it will just think, I don't even understand what this person is saying, so just try and think about that. So in terms of, I was saying about doing a bit of research in the marketplace, I always advise you do that. Shows that you thoroughly considered your idea, considered your proposal. You know what's going on. You're hip to, the kind of a bit of a quasi or semi-expert in your field. You know what's going on in the marketplace. This is, for example, YouTube. Some people might say, oh, well, YouTube, their main competition is just other video platforms. Not necessarily. If you really think about what YouTube does, there's so much that they get into. They get into social media, they get into entertainment, they get into music, education even. So LinkedIn is a YouTube competitor, really, if you're trying to learn, because on YouTube you can learn so much, but also on LinkedIn you can learn so much. So, that's showing again that this person has thoroughly considered YouTube and the different competitors, direct and indirect competitors that could be able to, affect YouTube, really, for example. So we're looking for a similar thing with your business or your idea. We're looking for evidence that you've thoroughly thought about your business concept and idea and different factors that might, or competitors or forces that might influence it. So how do you find your target customer? Because again, this is one of the questions, in the application process. Again, we're trying you're trying to demonstrate that you've thoroughly thought about this. Who is your target persona, your ideal customer? If they were to walk in through the door just now, would you be able to identify them on site? Have you done the research to what their likes are, what their dislikes are? Again, we will go into more detail with the program on how to do this, but we are looking for some sort of evidence that you've considered the customer's point of view and seeing things through the eyes of your customer, and where these people are and they would be interested in your concept or your idea. Okay. So still talking about the business, in the application questions, we want to see evidence of how your business will generate income. So again, we're not looking for any proof that you have generated income, but we want to see evidence that you've thought of how your business is going to generate income, because your business has to be sustainable. Okay. You don't want to start a business tomorrow and then in 6 months' time, because you haven't considered how your business is going to make money or become sustainable, it closes. We want to see that you have thought this through. Is it going to be subscription based? Is it going to be one-off payments? Is it going to be something else? How will your business create impact as well? And like I say, we're not necessarily looking for the next $1 million business. We are looking for businesses, especially just now, that might be able to create some sort of social impact, because with the cost of living crisis and all these other things going on, not necessarily, creating huge turnover isn't always the name of the game. It might be some other impact or positive impact you can create on society. So what are the judges looking for here? We're looking for, are you thinking about how you're going to generate money? Is it realistic? How is the business going to operate? Do you have team members? Maybe someone who can be an advisor on your business. Have you thoroughly thought about how your business is going to operate? And again, like I say, that impact piece is really important. Okay. And then standing out against competition. So what makes a good idea? Typically, we are looking for that, like I say, desirability, viability, and feasibility. It's all very well saying your business is going to make £1 million in the first year. Is that really realistic? You have to ask yourself these questions. But that sweet spot where the 3 circles sort of meet here is what we're looking for. It has to be something that's viable, desirable, and feasible. All right. And always start with the customer in mind. So I just kind of mentioned there about the team. We're really, again, you don't have to have a team to apply. An individual, one person can apply for this program. That's fine. But it would be good to demonstrate, if it is one individual, that you have, maybe people, maybe there's a cousin or an uncle or parents with expertise or friends in certain areas, and you can list that. You could say so and so is going to be good for this, so is going to be good for this, so they're part of your team. You don't necessarily need to have industry experts that the CEO of that company or this company. It might be some people that on a family or friendship level. So put that down in your application. Again, you're trying to create that solid, this is a backable idea, you're a backable candidate, you're a backable person for this program. Okay. If you have made progress in your idea, brilliant. Tell us about it. We want to hear about it. What's your ambition for the future? Don't be scared to kind of brag about anything that could solidify your case, really, like I say, because it is a competition. So again, the judges are looking for a team, not necessarily working for you, but maybe people that you can draw from and draw from their advice. A team with those sort of desirable skills and passion that can help the project. And are, looking for coachability. Are you open as well? So it's not a solo sport entrepreneurship, you will definitely probably need some help along the way. In fact, people that think it's a solo sport, they tend not to get very far. So we'd always suggest that you come with an open mind and show that you are, willing to, like I say, gain and learn from the program as well. So in terms of the application process, like I said at the start, if you're going to F-Success, maybe you're not quite sure how to get there, you can go on www.rgu.ac.uk/accelerator. That's going to take you to again, you can take a screenshot of this slide if you like. That's going to take you to the main page on the RGU website that lists the information about the Accelerator program, okay? You just click to apply. There's a link that takes you straight to F-Success, which is this year, I mentioned. The F-Success website is again where I say you will submit your application process, okay? Just need to create an account. And like I was saying earlier, you can use Facebook or you can use your LinkedIn profile or page if you have one. So that's automatically done for you. You just continue with Facebook or LinkedIn. You can choose your team name. And like I said, it doesn't need to be a team. Don't worry if you don't have a team, it can just be a startup, your own startup business name. Then you can invite your co-founders if you have them. Don't worry if you don't, that's fine. You just go through to kind of create your profile and submit for yourself. If you don't have a team, that's fine. So step 4 is just the questions. Like I've kind of spoken through already. There's about 30, I think it's 34 questions or so. So it's not too bad. And you can, if you don't have time to submit everything, or maybe there's something else you want to add or something like this, you can always revisit your application later on. But like I say, please do make sure you submit it by Sunday, because unfortunately we won't be able to accept anything after that. Okay, so nothing like the internet's not working or anything like that. We need everything in by midnight. So if you know anyone that's still not submitted, please tell them to encourage them to do so. There will be no extensions at all. Okay. So then just submit, and this is the deadline, just as a reminder. And this is the Q&A section now. So if anybody has any questions, this is the period or time for it. Before I do that though, and like I say, you can unmute yourselves. I'm just going to stop sharing the slide so we can see each other. If anybody wants to put someone's got their video on, that's great. Hey Martina, that's great. So if anybody wants to put their cameras on, that's fine. Just before we jump into the questions and answer section, I wanted to go over the international students piece, because that's quite important as well. So some people asked me, I was at the Breakfast Club earlier today, and I got asked about, for visa requirements and things like that. On your student visa, sometimes it'll stipulate you can't start a business because, that's a visa condition. So just to say, we've accommodated for that, because if you are successful as to be selected on this program, what we can do for you is we can write you a startup visa endorsement letter. Okay, so what that means is essentially if you're successful, and of course we're not the embassy, so we can't give you the visa. But what that means is if you're successful to get this startup visa, it will give you 2 years as to which you can work in the UK on your business idea. Okay, so that's quite an exciting opportunity, really. So you can still apply for this opportunity. This startup application for the Accelerator program is still open to international students. So don't worry, because some people think it just doesn't apply to them. But because we have the startup visa opportunity, potentially the endorsement letter, potentially this could be an opportunity for you. So please don't let that discourage you from applying for international students as well. Okay, so do we have any questions at all? Yes, go for it.
So my startup idea is about textile period pads, and I have done short 2 minutes video for previous competition. Am I able to just submit this video somewhere, because it's making people clearly understand what's the base of my business? So can I just submit the Google Drive link somewhere into the application?
Yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah, that's great. And like I say, I think that sounds quite, the fact that you have the video, it's going to, again, like I said, you set you apart from other people, and it's quite a creative way to demonstrate your project or your idea. So yeah, absolutely. We would love to see the video. It's just going to help you stand out more. Yeah. Okay. We'll keep an eye out for that. Any other questions or anything?
Just responding to her question, I'm pretty sure there's a section of F6S where you can upload a video, but I think the limit is 1 minute. Oh, I have got a question as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Regarding the application submit date, is it how do I put this? First come, first serve.
First come, first serve, not necessarily. No. So the deadline will close on the 11th. So as long as your application is in before the 11th, that's fine. Some people, maybe, like I say, one individual might submit multiple different ideas. But no, there's no first come, first serve. We need to basically consider everybody. So the deadline will be on Sunday. So we need to consider everybody's application. So as long as it's in before Sunday, your application will be considered. But there's no first come, first serve, because we need to kind of rank the ideas, because it is a competition. So no, not necessarily. Answers your question.
Okay, second question. Just like I was saying, there's a section where you get to include a pitch deck and a minute video. How important is that?
I would say it's definitely a way to stand out. It's probably going to give you extra points. So it's not essential, because you could still submit, of course, without that. But I think it's definitely a way to stand out from the crowd. So I would suggest, if you have something like a pitch deck or a video, definitely do submit it, or if you can create something quickly. Because we get, last year we had about 200 submissions or applications. And like I say, if we're only taking 16 people, then you have to think of ways to help yourself stand out. So I would use that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Last question.
Sure.
What date is the boot camp? Like the final, the day we get to give our elevator pitch?
The boot camp. So that's the 14th of January.
Okay, and I won't be around for the 14th of January. Is it possible for one of my other team members to cover for me?
Yeah, sure. As long as we have somebody that's there. Ideally it would be the lead applicant, but as long as we have somebody that's there for the actual business bootcamp in physical, in physicality, that's the main thing. Yeah, so someone else can cover, another team member or something, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No worries. Can I just ask, because I'm wanting to send out, sorry, 2 seconds, Martina. Can I just ask everybody puts their real names or their full names on the screen, just so we can send you the slides after and the recording as well to your correct email addresses? Because not everybody registers for this event, and some people find the link, I don't know how. So just to make sure everybody gets the slides and the recordings, if I could just ask if everybody puts their full name, so we know where to share those resources with you after. Sorry, Martina, you can ask a question.
So do I understand correctly that you are selecting from all the applicants, I don't know, like 20 or some I don't know, around 20 people for the bootcamp, and then after the bootcamp, gonna be final selection of like 5 people or something like that, yeah?
Yeah, so we're gonna go through all the applications, and then we are going to whittle that down to 24. Okay, so 24 people or businesses will be invited for the bootcamp in January. Out of that 24, we're only going to take 16. So it's going to be whittled down further, because at the bootcamp, we're going to see, it's about the vibe, how you get on with other people, how engaging you're on the day. That's why it's called a bootcamp. So yes, that's the kind of process that we're going to go through. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Any other
hello.
questions?
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the question I have is, say my team member is not in the UK.
Mhm.
The endorsement letter, does that transfer to them also? It's only for me, because I'm an international. So if the people on my team, they are not in the UK, I'm working on it with them. do they get endorsement from the university also, or I'm the only one entitled to that as a student?
Right. Okay. So you're asking if the startup visa endorsement would apply to your own
My members, yeah,
I would say probably not, especially if they're not here. But I don't want to for sure say that because it's a case of then how many letters,
yeah,
how many people are in the team. So, but I wouldn't want to say that for sure, but I would imagine, I mean, I can run the question past our head of innovation for that specificity. But I'd imagine it would be the people that are based in the actual, in the UK, rather than, overseas, because again, there's certain criteria, certain requirements. I would say there's a whole section on the RGU website that goes into further detail with the startup visa. So if you go to the rgu.ac.uk/accelerator, and if you go to the startup visa section, there's an actual link where you can download a document that goes into all the sort of finer details on the startup visa. You can see, but I can check for that question for you as well, if that would be helpful.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Is that something you want me to check on you
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you? Okay, all right. I think I've got, is it Chukwemeka?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So I think we'll have if you registered for today's event, we'll have
Yep.
your email. So that's, yeah. Okay. Okay, well, if there's no further questions, thank you very much for joining. Okay. It's been great and great to see the questions and interest. I will say good luck if you're applying. Hopefully today's session has been useful. And like I say, appreciate taking time if you are in the middle of exams and things like that. So I'll probably let everyone get going, just in the interest of time if you are going on for assessments and things.
Sorry, I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it, I forgot it.
Okay.
Oh, I can't remember. I'm so sorry.
Okay. That's okay. You can drop an email after. I'll put my email in the chat box. Maybe that'll be helpful. And yes, somebody was asking, are the slides going to be shared? Yes. So, and we'll share the recording as well.
Oh, okay, I remember now.
Yep.
Oh, so last year they had the whole regional thing, and there were over 400 applicants. About how many applicants are we expecting this time around?
Oh, so it's a bit tricky this year, because it's just RGU staff and no, sorry, RGU staff. It's not RGU staff this year. Last year was RGU staff and regional. And like I say, we had several hundred, and 200 or so applications. This year, maybe it depends. Maybe about 100 or so. Of course, we don't know until closing date. So again, it's how do you stand out in that.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's okay. No worries.
Just to confirm, the 24 people are going to be invited for the boot camp, and 16 others are going to be accepted into the program.
Correct. Yes. After the boot camp. Yeah. And we'll announce the finalists. Yeah. On the 18th. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's okay. Okay, great. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone. No further questions. And if there are any questions, I've shared my email address in the chat box. So, drop me a line. Preferably not at 11 o'clock on Sunday night, because there are very slim chances of questions being answered then. So like I say, good luck, everybody, and maybe see you on the other side as well. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.